Afternoon, YouTube. Afternoon, all. Hope you had a good weekend. Just making sure that I'm coming through okay, am I? Yeah, hope everyone had a good weekend. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here again. It's a Monday. I don't know about you, but I actually don't like the weekend now because I love trading. You know, even if it's been quiet, like it has been the last week and a half, I still don't like getting up on a Saturday or a Sunday not knowing that I can take a trade. So I do enjoy Mondays coming along, which, let me tell you, is a hell of a lot different than what it used to be. I used to work in oil and gas, getting paid good money, very good wage, and just hated getting up in the morning. So I don't know if anyone here watching is in the same boat as me, that don't like their job and trying to find a way out. You know, trading is certainly a way to do that, but it just takes a lot of work. So you'll get there, and I mean, I'm saying this and I'm negative 300, but that's okay. But yeah, it's certainly the best thing that I've ever done, because I never in a million years would I wanted to wake up on a Monday morning when I was working at my old job, and I get to kind of do this full time, and I absolutely love it. So if you're going through the shit of trying to figure out, or maybe you're a completely new trader, you know, the end goal here is obviously to become a full-time trader, and anything worthwhile is going to take some time, and it's still an evolving process. I'm an evolving process. I'm still not where I want to be. You know, like I said, I want $1 million of funded equity, and hopefully, maybe in a year's time, I don't know, that, you know, if I'm still doing these live streams, hopefully I will be. I'll have $1 million equity to trade off. But let's see. I'm going to do it all live. Like I said, it's all live. It's all transparent. There's no bullshit here. And let's see what happens with this funded account, and then move on to the next one. So, okay, markets today. I did speak on Friday. By the way, if you have any questions, put in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. That's what I'm here for. Hopefully help some people out. So Friday was NFP, and on my live stream on Friday, if you watched it, I did talk about I wanted those numbers to come in around those expectations mark. Obviously, unemployment, we wanted a decent number. We got that, slightly beating expectations by 1.1%, 5.8 I think it was. And the job numbers came in at 580,000. I think the expectations was 625, 650. I can't remember, something like that. But the stock's like that, and I did. I don't always get it right, but you know, I seem to have got it right this time. And we had this push on in the SPX. I'll zoom in. So we had this push. I think this was NFP day in the SPX, and every day that goes on, I'm starting to like this index a bit more. You know, we've got similar that I've seen, you know, 3 times now in the SPX. Big impulse, loss of momentum, harder ABC reset. Right, we came back to that 200, big bullish engulfer here, or a bullish 180. Digested that bullish engulfer. That's what you normally see with these big engulfers. You see some digestion afterwards. Not often do they just continue up like this. You know, in some circumstances they do, but not often do they do that. Digestion, push up on that NFP numbers, and breach through this B wave here, which for me is quite a key level. You know, you'd expect seller stops to be in this area. That's why I always like to see B wave breached. And we've come up and we've tagged these all-time highs. Now we expected a reaction here. We expected a reaction, and that's what we got on Asian Open, on this kind of engulfing bar. Now we're waiting. What I said in my analysis this morning was we're waiting for possible rejection of this area. And with this 4 hour, which I think closes in an hour from now, it looks like we're getting that. You know, we're getting this old resistance becoming possibly, or this B wave becoming new support. And my bias is that we get back up here. What I would prefer to see is possible rising pressure into this area before a potential break. I don't think that's going to happen today, but my bias for this week is we see all-time highs in the SPX. I think the market has liked what it's seen. We obviously have to digest this slight push up on Friday, let that 20 catch up, and just get that rising pressure into the level for a break of all-time highs. I do think we get that this week, but I think it'll come at the end. And I hope as a trader, you know, from my perspective, I hope we do get that. It'd be nice to get some clear direction, some fluidity in the markets, because as you know, if you have been trading the last week, let me know if you think different. But for me, in my personal strategy, it's been quite quiet. And previously, it's normally where I would lose most of my money. So when I was learning and when I was developing as a trader, these periods of consolidation, quiet markets, uncertain markets, you know, with these inflation fears coming in, or whatever kind of situation it was, that's where I'd overtrade. And when the fluidity came back, where I'd make my money, I was just kind of making up for the loser. So I was never really getting anywhere because I'd lose money. You know, I might over risk and, you know, lose too much because I was annoyed at losing a few trades. I'd get into that winning run and just be chasing the kind of money that I lost. And now I know when to trade. I know when not to trade. So if you're a new trader, this is a great skill to learn. Remember, unless you're a scalper or probably a smaller time frame chart trader, which I am not, it's the once you can determine when to take trades and when not to take trades, and when there's maybe times where you come out of the market and, you know, do back testing, learning a bit more, I promise you'll make a lot more money. And if we look at this daily, as I said, this is just looking nicer as every day goes on. So we had this rejection of the 20, simple 20, and a good bullish bar here, closing, not quite a Marabuzo candle. If you don't know what a Marabuzo is, it's when a candle closes like this, right? So actually, technically, it should be like this, but it certainly closes above the high, and it shows a very strong bullish impulse or bearish impulse if it's a bearish candle. But I like to see these types of things here, right? I like to see a good bullish bar that doesn't break the level, but gets close to that level. And as I said on the 4 hour, we might get a few days here of a consolidation. Let that 20 catch up a little bit before moving higher. That's what I think. I don't trade what I think, I trade what I see. But that's my personal bias for the week ahead on the SPX. So I'm in a few trades. I was in this Swiss yen. That got stopped out on open. You know, I did speak about these big bars. I don't really particularly like to see them. And look what we've got after that massive bar. Just horrible price action. I moved my stop there to guarantee profit on the second trade. Remember, I take 2 trades. So my first TP was hit, and I got out of that with about 0.5 R all in all, which was roughly about $2,000 profit on that particular trade. And I'm in a few more. So I'm in CAD Swiss, as I did talk about last week. The CAD had a little bit of a drop down on poor data coming out on Friday, employment data. However, and this is another kind of little bit of knowledge that you can use or not use. When these types of data comes out, so CAD's been strong. We all know CAD's been strong, probably the strongest in the basket if you look at the period of the last month, maybe even 2 months actually. When negative data comes out in a currency pair that has been strong, sometimes you do see that initial reaction down, right? Initial volatility down, but eventually a lot of the time it heads in the direction that, you know, it was originally going. So it heads in the trending direction, even after that volatility, because it has been strong. And I'm not going to change my bias on the CAD. I'm not going to change my bias on this trade. I still like it. We're still in it. I've now got that 200 approaching. That is dynamic support to price. I was taken in on this candle. Obviously, the news was not great, but we had a big bullish bar here on Asian Open here, which is a decent sign. And you know, I still kind of like this trade. If it gets stopped out, then that's perfectly fine. But I still kind of like this trade. So I'm not gonna panic sell on the CAD news, because I've done that many times in the past and it's never worked out. So I don't know how many times you panic sold and then it ends up going in that direction. And that's doesn't mean it's going to happen now, but I've 100 times. It'll probably happen most of the time, and that's where the data statistics come in. That's what you want. You want to play the long game and play the averages. So CAD Swiss I've still got in, and I'm just holding that at the moment. Let's hope it does push on over London and over US. But again, if it gets stopped out, it's just one trade. And the final other trade that I'm in on this account is the the Dow. US 30, Dow Jones. which again, this is the power of having a decent stop loss. We probably would have been taken out. This wasn't NFP, this was actually Thursday. Big drop down. It was a drop down on London Open, and then a complete rejection with this bullish bar. And same with the SPX. So look how we've had 16 hours there of consolidation, another rejection of that level. 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5. And then we had a big push on NFP numbers. And it looks to be similar to the SPX. You know, we've broken through this B wave of this ABC. ABC, big bullish engulfer, digestion, push on, now retesting this B wave area. So this again looks nice to me. You know, I'm not going to fiddle with that. Still a bit to go before our TP1, but you know, I like where that is now. You know, after this, stops being taken out, and it looks to be pushing on. Big rejection, simple 20, look at that. Simple 20 rejection on the daily. Hammer candle, bullish bar. I mean, I do fancy this to get up to our TP. We might have a reaction around here. But, I mean, I'm not a genius for picking indexes long, but, you know, I certainly don't mind that trade at all. And we'll see. The good thing about this as well is if we do go up and hit TP1 here, we can move our stop immediately up here. If we end up getting a slight corrective and then pushing up, we'll be able to move our stop to break even, which again makes that another risk-free trade. And you see how we're, you know, with Swiss yen, getting a little bit of money in the board, putting money in the bank, putting money in the bank, putting money back, and just getting those returns and those profits just adding up and keep adding up and building, and that's it. So last week I've now closed Swiss yen for 0.5. I've still got that USD ZAR in progress. I've banked 1 hour on that. This is actually a really nice trade. I'll go into that at the end. But you know, for now, for May, it's up to 11%, and hopefully I get another maybe % or 2 out of it. Great month, right? And for June, this is my YouTube idea, sorry. For June, I've got these two currently in progress. So let's see how June goes. I mean, you don't normally get months where you hit 10, 15% back to back. Normally, if I have a good month, I might have another quiet month, and then possibly another quiet month and a big month. You know, once a quarter, I would consider getting one of those big months, and that's where you make your money. You know, you think of, let's say when I get this 200K account, that big 10, 11, 12% month is what? You know, I mean, technically it's net 20 something thousand. Taking home 14, I don't even know the exact number, $16,000-$17,000, I guess. You have 300, it goes up. That's where you make your money. Okay, the watch list today, which I know some of you will be interested in. New Zealand yen. Now, New Zealand yen needs to show me something today. I've talked about this for ages, but it needs to show me a bullish bar here to create that morning star pattern, or quasi morning star pattern on a bit of volume in order to take that long. That's what I'm waiting for New Zealand yen. If we don't get that, if we don't get a close like above this area, I can't take it. So even though I've been waiting for it for a while, if it doesn't give me that close, I can't take it. NZD JPY long. China 50 is another one. Now I have talked a lot about these on the stream, if you have been watching, so I won't go into too much detail. But we had this cup with handle, good corrective back to that 20, bullish pressure through, and again, like Swiss yen, you know, you have one big day, and look how many days it takes to digest that move. So that's why it's 70% discipline, 30% strategy. And I'm looking, as this is a steady state corrective, it looked a bit like a topping pattern a few days ago, but it's starting to turn into something that needs to get back to this area, around that 20, and give me my catalyst for going long. So China 50 I do like as well. You know, if this decides to move, then the China 50 has that characteristics where it really does move quite quickly. So China 50 is nice. Another one I do like is Palladium, which is, I know maybe a lot of you don't trade this, but this to me looked pretty good. Now I know if you're a new trader that might look like a mess, right? But for me, this is accumulation followed by big V reversal, corrective pattern, push through that corrective pattern. It looked to be on this candle, it might be breaking through, but it's had a slight rejection about this area again. So I'm looking for this to break through, retest to go long. This for me looks nice. You know, you look at the larger time frame, the daily, we're on an uptrend, and favorite ABC corrective, digesting this big move. Remember, that's why we use higher time frame context, is you want to make sure you're getting in at the right time. You don't want to be buying. I mean, wouldn't be buying this up here? Would you want to be buying this up here? No, because look, it's kind of extended, isn't it? But do I want to be, am I okay buying this down here? Of course I am. You know, potentially this is out of its corrective. If you want to put a trend line on there, fine. And for trend continuation to the upside. So that higher time frame context makes such a difference. And you can see on the daily as well, if I zoom in, you know, there's a few rejection bars here, which is possibly down to that kind of descending corrective trend line. If we break through that area in the smaller time frames, we're probably breaking through this 20 period on the daily. But this looks nice. I like it. 4 hour engulfer. The only issue we have here is obviously the 4 hour 200. However, if we get 1-to-1, so if the setup gives us 1-to-1 risk reward before that's hit, or roughly around that's hit, that's fine. I can take that. But if it's in the way of my 1-to-1 risk reward, I have to let it go, unfortunately. But I do like that setup. You know, I do really like that setup. I think it's nice. And I like where it is on the higher time frames. And yeah, I would happily play that long if we get a setup. EuroCAD. Now, EuroCAD was one I took out. I did have it in on Friday as a breakout to the downside. We had those numbers come out and we had a big pressure up here. So I took it out for the time being. And again, look, there you go. There's your, you know, this was NFP as well. You know, so there was strength coming to the CAD at that point in time. So this is still valid. Again, touch this area. Bullish engulfer all this off this area, but it looks to be that momentum to the upside is kind of failing a bit. And if we do this, I presume this is roughly around the area it came. So we're getting this, what is now a valid trend line. Slight hammer here on the 4 hour. No, it's not really a hammer. It's probably a doji candle. So it's indecision candle on high volume. So you can call this a battle bar. Right, when you get a doji on high volume, that for me is what I call a battle bar, because you're getting a lot of participation within those 4 hours, but it's going nowhere. So buyers aren't taking control, sellers aren't taking control, and you usually have to wait for that next candle to decide where it wants to go. So if this closes underneath this 20, something like this, I'm going to put my order back in for a breakout short, and or possibly here stops depending on how the candles turn up. But I mean, that's still an A-class setup for me. Could call this an AB shallow C reset of this level. But if it comes down, you know, I think it's just a matter of time before that area breaks. EuroCAD, again, if we get our higher time frame confluence, looks good as well, right? It looks ready to move. And that's what I always like to see. I want to see pairs that are ready to move. Not going long, short here, not going short here. You know, getting pairs ready to move. So if you get a context, let's say there, right? That's nice context, isn't it? Back to the 20, few wick candles of rejection. You know, I didn't make up hammers, I didn't make up engulfers, but they work. Just because they're simple doesn't mean they don't work. Big engulfer here, look at that. Ended up going down from this pullback from this move. You know, and that's why the higher time frames are so important. To make sure you're getting in things that are ready to move. And that's when you get the most profits. Two more. The last two are pound Swiss. If you got anything you want me to watch, then let me know. Or look at. Pound Swiss, we've been watching this for quite some time on this daily chart. It still needs to show me something. It needs to show me what it's got. ABC, push on, and now I'm looking for this to get up to this level, reload to go long. Like I've talked about this on every stream. However, if this breaks underneath this area, you know, it has to be off the list. You know, no matter how long I've watched it, same with the New Zealand yen, if it doesn't give me it, you know, I'm not going to be married to a position. I'm not going to be married to a bias, because if this does happen, it has to reset up. for me in order to take that long. So if we get a breakthrough here, it's got to be off the list for the time being. Pound Swiss. I still like the idea of it long. You'd expect if indexes break through all-time highs, you would expect that Swiss to weaken off. You'd expect the yen to weaken off. You'd expect the dollar to weaken off as it did on Friday. You'd expect those commodity currencies to be bid, the Aussie, the CAD, the New Zealand. And, putting those odds in your favor of buying those commodity currencies against those risk-off currencies makes sense, right? Again, we're just putting those odds in the favor as long as you get a setup that fits your criteria. So even though I think this is going long, I can't take it unless it gives me a setup. And finally, one that I do like for crypto people out there is Ethereum. So this is, I mean, that is almost a textbook cup with handle. That for me, if it comes up to this level, that is almost a textbook cup with handle. We've got our handle here, roughly around 50% of the length of the cup. I mean, that looks great. What we have to remember with Ethereum is this is counter trend. This is no doubt counter trend. And we have this 4 hour. So what I need here is another leg. Right? I need my favorite kind of cup with handle within a cup with handle. And I need this 4 hour 20 to start curling down so that our breakout breaks above that 4 hour 200, stops under here in order to go long. I can't take this breakout now because say if I took this break here, my stop's here, that's in the way of 1-to-1, and that will be an area of dynamic resistance to price because it's, the 200 is certainly for me the biggest moving average. Whether it's an EMA or an MA, the 200 holds the most weight. So I need another kind of reload, or another leg for that Ethereum to take that long. But I like crypto long for long term, certainly. But as a trading perspective, you could look at this as a possible wedge in here. Now theory dictates that should head down on account of this, impulse to the downside. However, we have crossed over this 20 now. The 4 hour, if it gives us that setup, the risk reward in getting a setup in crypto is too good to miss out on, right? So even though I know it's counter trend, if I get this, and this curls round, so my buy stop's in there, that potential is too good to ignore for a counter trend trade. And I would be happy taking that long. So that's what I'm looking at today. If you want me to look at anything, let me know. I am doing a stream tonight with trader Nick, A1 Trading Company at 6 p.m. GST. If you want to tune into that, that's always a good stream. And I'll have a quick look at USD ZAR before I go away, because this is a great example of what trading is, right? So we have our 30% strategy here, and then we have our 70% discipline here. Okay, and is this difficult? Waiting for this? You're just waiting. Move your stop, waiting for the swing. Move your stop, waiting for the swing. Move your stop, waiting for the swing. Move your stop. That's it. Parsa, how you doing, mate? You've just joined at the end. I usually start at 1. But how's your trading been? Anyway, yeah, so this setup, again, this is on my actual funded account, not on my real, on this challenge, this 200k challenge. But that this is not difficult. This is the main thing. I think trading is the easiest, most difficult thing you'll probably ever do, right? So finding this head and shoulders, that accumulation, this is a pattern, going with that trend, that higher time frame context, is that really difficult? I can teach anybody that. But this is patience, and patience is where you make most of your money, and that's for damn sure. So anyway, I think a few things are looking good. I do like that Ethereum. I do like EuroCAD still. I do like Palladium. New Zealand yen, again, we have to wait for the end of the day. Might be one for tomorrow. But I think it's going to be a good week, and I think certainly those SPX, I can see that breaking through highs, and possibly we get that fluidity back and make some bloody money, because that would be very nice. Like, this is just, for the past week and a half, it's done nothing, right? I'm now 2014. I was up at 207 at one point last week. I was down to 200. I mean, I guess, you know, go looking back, I'm positive, which is not, this is not what I used to be a couple of years ago, but it just shows you that it's just done nothing. And for my personal trading, maybe your trading's been better. I hope it has been. But I'm waiting for that big new moves, and I know when they come, I'll be happy that I stayed patient, because, you know, for me on this account, 2-3 trades is like $12,000, maybe more. So there you go. Anyway, yeah, Parsa, I'm doing next stream tonight as well, so maybe I'll see you there at 6 o'clock, A1 Trading. It's usually quite a good stream. I think there's usually quite a lot of people on it. But yeah, rewatch it. I went through the pairs that I'm looking at, and yeah, I'm going to have my lunch, and I'm off. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you all again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Take care.